Hey Internet, Eric here. Been a while. Life is just fucking busy. Life, work, all that stuff. It's Christmas time. Haven't done anything regular on the channel lately, but I have mentioned a week or so ago that I am slowly going through the Rocky franchise. I've already discussed the original. Let's get right down to it. It's going to be hard to follow up, but we're going to talk about Rocky 2. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I discuss plot, spoilers, specific scenes, what have you. This came out in 1979, and the plot of this is we're following the after effects of the big fight, the big title fight that Rocky lost. You know, a lot of people who haven't seen the original movie tend to forget that Rocky didn't win. He lost by a split decision. And we're following Rocky again with his relationship with Adrian. Getting married, starting a family, and then just the fact that, you know, he's proud that he went the distance, but he's just wondering if he could have given more. And like the difficulties of now becoming a family man and starting this life with Adrian. And we're also following Apollo, who is going through his troubles too. He is wondering if, you know, this was a fluke. You know, he's disappointed that this chump, this bum, you know, all these names that people call Rocky, went the distance, and now he's dealing with the backlash that he's getting. And it all culminates in this rematch for the World Heavyweight title. Fantastic movie. I'll start off by saying, I'll go ahead and get this out of the way. I think this one's better than the original. I really think this one's better than the original. First off, Stallone is great in this. What I like about Stallone and what he does to Rocky in this film is we get to see Rocky enjoying, you know, he's enjoying the life that this fight has given him. There's a lot of montages, you know, there's lots of montages in Rocky movies, but there's lots of scenes of him just going out of the blue, buying cars, buying jackets, watches, and because he isn't used to this stuff. You know, he came from the streets. He was working for a loan shark, you know, breaking thumbs or not breaking thumbs. And it's great seeing him enjoy this type of life. And what I like about this is they also have Adrian saying, no, my coat is fine. I don't need this fancy coat. You know, trying to bring him down a little bit. The scene where he's buying the house without even seeing the upstairs. And Adrian tells him, we haven't even seen the upstairs. Oh, I'm sure it's fine. So he's enjoying this life. And then, you know, they've gotten married. They find out they're going to have a child. And then the money starts to dry up. You know what I mean? And he's promised Adrian that he isn't going to fight anymore. And that's great because, again, he's got such a great chemistry with Talia Shire. You know, we'll get to her. And she's so good at, she's no longer the meek Adrian that we saw in the first one. She is not afraid to stand up to Rocky, stand up to Paulie. She's got great scenes. I love because after she gets pregnant, she has to make ends meet. She has to start working at the pet store again. And it causes her to go into early labor. But that's because, you know, the stress that's happening at the home, plus Paulie pretty much telling her, hey, you know what you're doing to him? Let him fight. You know what I mean? Because, you know, Rocky, to make ends meet, is now working at Mickey's gym, cleaning up the messes, being a janitor type of thing. And Mickey didn't want to hire him because, you know, all the young fighters look up to Rocky. So, but Adrian Talia Shire is so great. Burt Young, you know, we lost him a handful of months ago. He's still great. He's not as big of an asshole as he was in the first one, but he still is. You know what I mean? He's still, Jesus, like the first time we see him, because the movie starts, you know, we're seeing the aftermath, or we've seen the end part of the original fight. And then we cut to them going to the hospital, blah, blah, blah. And Paulie, after trying to cheer Rocky up and being nice, he's still asking for Rocky to give him that job, you know, working for Gazzo. I mean, Jesus Christ. And then eventually, you know, there's a change in Paulie. You know, I mean, he's an asshole, but he's still a good guy. Like, he knows Rocky and Adrian are having tough times, and he's offering, because he's now working for Gazzo, you know, money. You know, do you need money? I can give you like a grand or something like that. So it's really good. And then him taking care of Adrian, because Adrian, after having the baby and such a complicated pregnancy and delivery, because eventually Adrian, because of the stress and the early birth, is in a coma. Paulie is now taking care of her during the fight because the doctors say she's got to stay at home. And he's really good at, in that little scene where Rocky's going to the stadium, and he's saying, I wish you could come with, and it's Paulie that says, doctor says she can't. So I really like that. Burgess Meredith, he's great again as Mickey. I love him just dealing with Rocky. And he's so sweet, you know what I mean? When he's not being this gruff type of coach. When he shows up at Adrian and Rocky's wedding, I like how he doesn't want to hire Rocky to work the gym because these guys will look down on him, and they do. It's demeaning. Training Rocky, and Rocky is so stressed out with the home life, and he can't focus, so you get to see Mickey's frustrations. You know what I mean? And then when we get to that montage when Rocky's finally focused, and Mickey is just, he's there with Rocky and stuff like, so it's so good. We get more Apollo in this one, and we get a little bit more of Apollo not so much being as much of a cocky prick as he was in this first one, because he's now getting fan mail. And fan mail is in air quotes because he's getting letters saying that the fight was fixed. You're a chump. You know, he even has a letter where someone says, why don't you kill yourself? Because, you know, they're saying that Apollo's an embarrassment. And you take that into effect because now it's affecting Apollo's home life. He's very distanced from his wife. The scene where Rocky's going to the, he's going to the sportatorium or wherever he's going. Him and Adrian are close, blah, blah, blah. When Apollo is training, getting ready, it's a great shot. Stallone directed it. It's this great shot. Apollo's wife is like really close to the camera, and Apollo is all the way in the back, prepping. You know what I mean? So it shows that this has really affected their marriage. They're so distanced. I like how we get to see how, Rocky's rise, to the, the good life. And then it slowly comes down because he signs a contract to be, in a bunch of commercials. He can't read the lines well. He can barely read at all. And people are just talking down on him. It's take 35. They got the guy dressed as like fucking Captain Caveman with these sexy people trying to sell cologne. And then they get him, and he finally realizes it because they have him, as a boxer. And he's got these fake, swells on his face, and he pulls it off, and he realizes, you guys are basically fucking me. You know what I mean? I'm worth more than that. I like, again, how people don't realize these aren't boxing movies. They're movies about a boxer. And I like how this focuses, again, on the relationship with Rocky and Adrian. I love how he's down on his luck. He's so pissed off. He doesn't care. He's arguing with he's arguing with Mickey in the locker room because Paulie is with Adrian when she has her, I guess you would say, incident. And then when one of the trainers comes and say, Rock, your wife needs you, she's sick. Boom, he bolts out the door. She's in a coma. He refuses to see the baby until she wakes up from the coma because he wants them to be together. When they say, it's a great scene when they finally get to see him. And then Mickey, being Mickey, looks at the baby. He's like, is that it? So he is this welcome addition of comic relief at times. And this is one of my favorite scenes. Is, like I already said, Rocky's promised Adrian he's not going to box anymore. He wants to. Like, there's that scene when he's down in the basement. He's just hitting the heavy bag, and he needs to do it. This is what he's born to do. He's a street kid from Philly. You know what I mean? But he's going to follow his wife's wishes. And it's starting to tear the marriage apart. And then it's such a sweet scene. They're seeing the baby. She's in the hospital bed. And there's one more thing I want you to do for me, Rocky. What's that? And then she just says, win. And then the score, you have that ding, that bell hit right there. And he's like, what? Win. And then you have Mickey going apeshit. What are we waiting for? You know what I mean? And they run out. You have, again, this great score. Is it Bill Conti? You have this montage of Rocky. You know, he's doing the one-handed push-ups. He's doing the one-handed pull-ups on the jungle gym. And sure, it's kind of cheesy. You know, we get that one part of a montage where he is running through Philly and everybody in the whole fucking town is following him as he's running up the stairs. Whatever. But it's still a lot of fun. It's still inspiring. He finally catches that chicken. If you haven't seen the movie, I'm not going to tell you what that's about. But it's really, really good. Also with Bill Conti, it's not just the usual Gonna Fly Now or that type of music. One of my favorite scores is this lower key type of score when they're in the ambulance in the very beginning of the movie, going to the hospital. It's good. 2-3 minute drive of just them going through the town and this and that. Such a great score. What I love about Stallone is he's really good behind the camera. One of my favorite scenes is, first off, they get to the hospital and Rocky looks like shit. You know what I mean? And they're putting him in a wheelchair, this and that. And then out of nowhere comes Apollo Creed in his own wheelchair. He's still talking shit to Rocky after getting his ass beat. And he's looking awful. So again, Apollo is keeping up the front, you know what I mean? But then later in the night, you know, it's this great shot of Rocky's in a wheelchair and he just slowly opens Apollo's door. And he says, Apollo. And Apollo, he's no longer on camera. He's beat. He's hurt. He looks at Rocky, looks awful. And all Rocky asks is, did you give me your all? And Apollo says, yeah. And he says, thanks. So Rocky's still self-doubting. But he gets that reassurance that I went the distance with the champ and he gave me his all. Now, let's get to the title fight. I love this title fight, and I think it's better than the original, and not just because Rocky actually wins the belt. He does, you know, the Yo, Adrian, I did it stuff. What I love about this mainly is the fact that Adrian and Paulie aren't there, because that adds to it. It adds to, you know, we got Gazzo in the crowd again cheering for Rocky. I love, you know, it's, how do I say this? It's a great fight. It's longer than it is. If it's not longer, we get more footage of the fight like we did. That was one of my things I wished we had more of in the original. They're great, you know, the choreography is pretty good for the most part. I guess Carl Weathers and Stallone were really hitting each other, and they were like missing their marks. And there's like the one scene I read like after round 2 or 3 when they're really talking shit to each other. They were really pissed, but Stallone kept that in the film. But I love the cuts to Paulie and Adrian watching, also Gazzo in the crowd, and it's especially after you have them. They're so exhausted, and Rocky does that final punch, and they both fall down in slow motion. And Rocky has this thing with his eye. They're worried he could have gone blind, like one wrong hit. Boom, he's blind. So they fall down slow motion. We get some Rocky POV shots of blurred vision to the crowd. Slow motion of the ref counting. And the edits are so good. It helps make this movie so intense. Never seen this before? You know he lost in the first movie. Is he going to win? You don't know. But it's cut in between, when they fall, and Adrian just, you know, because her and Paulie are watching it on TV, Talia's perfect, you know, gasp. The ref is slowly counting to 10 because of the slow motion, and it's so good. You hear that. You hear the fans cheering, and as it gets closer and closer to 10, you have Gazzo yelling, get up, Rocky, you know, get up, Rock. You have Apollo's wife in the crowd yelling, get up, because it's slow. You have, oh my God, you have Mickey, like, he's like this, you know, begging to get up. You hear him yelling, I think it's Gazzo, on your feet. And what I love is, to my knowledge, this is the first time you really hear Paulie call him Rocky, because usually he calls him Rocco, you know what I mean? And it's this great cut of, because Bert's got a beer, of course, and he is just yelling at the TV, get up, Rocky! And it helps with, you know, sells the moment. And Apollo falls down at like 8 or 9 in the corner. And then Rocky gets up at 10. The ref goes, "You're out." Rocky, you know, because his team is coming in the ring, he turns around, he collapses on his cut, man. Like, literally collapses. The guy has to hold him up. One of my favorite shots, it's Adrian standing up to cheer. Paulie throws his fucking beer behind him, you know what I mean? They're cheering, they're hugging, mixed with this great score again, and then everybody's in there cheering and having a good time. Apollo, you know, walks to Rocky, gives him the belt, and then you have this great, aside from my kid being born, this is the greatest night in the history of my life. I want to speak to my wife who's home. Adrian, I did it. Holds up the belt. She just, she's telling the TV, "I love you." That one tear, if you don't, like, I'm not saying necessarily tear up or get choked up, but if you don't have a fucking smile on your face when that happens, and then you get the freeze frame of the end, I don't think you're getting the point of the film. So I'm going to say this. Rocky was really good. Rocky 2 is the superior film. Great performances. Again, we get to see the champ on his highs and his lows. Great performances from everyone in this. More Apollo. Different Apollo. That end fight. The climax of the fight with the slow motion. So good. Highly recommend Rocky 2. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Click the bell. All that crap. Comment below. Tell me what you think. Do you like this one? Do you like it better than Rocky? Like I do. Am I wrong in my opinion? They're just opinions. Deal with it. Slowly going through the franchise. I'm going to have a video up for 3 later. Then I'm going to take a break, because the Iron Claw is coming out. And me and my sister are going to see that as a tribute to our father. I'll get more into that later. But it's A24, and if you know the Von Erich family, it's not going to be happy. To kind of prep me for that, I'm also going to throw in a discussion on the film The Wrestler. So, and then after that, we'll get back to Rocky. No Christmas stuff this year. Bah humbug. Just don't have the time, and everyone's fucking doing it. Anyways, highly recommend Rocky 2. Get on it. Watch it. Tell me what you think. Cheers.